beyond the gleaming skyscrapers that define New York, a different, almost invisible city silently rolls through the night. It's a city constructed on wheels. Thousands of New Yorkers now call RVs, vans, and even their old, reliable cars their home. They work tirelessly during the day, always with the looming fear of being towed after dark. Just a single parking ticket, one swift citywide sweep, or the arrival of a tow truck could erase someone's entire existence before the break of dawn. This isn't some trendy, carefree, bohemian van life you see on Instagram. This is about raw survival. It's about desperately trying to keep insulin cold in a cheap, unreliable cooler that plugs into a car, and having to move that car every 72 hours because another parking ticket could cost you the only semblance of a roof you have left over your head. And if this heartbreaking situation can occur in the very heart of the nation's finances and culture, how long will it be before it starts happening in your own neighborhood? This isn't van life. This is vehicle homelessness. Let's be unequivocally clear about something. Van life is often a carefully curated and heavily filtered image. A young, affluent individual who has the luxury of working remotely from a brand new, custom-outfitted van. But real life isn't a photo op. She's painstakingly managing her life-saving insulin, constantly racing against the clock with the unforgiving 72-hour parking rule. She's forced to make agonizing choices between taking a desperately needed shower and eating a nourishing meal, all because having a gym membership is essential to maintain her employment. Tragically, the state of New York doesn't even bother to count the number of people forced to live in their vehicles. There's no official count, no formal acknowledgement of their existence. There are no safe and legal places for them to park. There are no services specifically designed to help them navigate this desperate situation. But venture out to the desolate waterfront areas of the South Bronx or the forgotten, neglected corners of Staten Island after midnight, and you'll see it with your own eyes. Fogged up windows hinting at human presence. Makeshift curtains clumsily taped up to provide a sliver of privacy. RVs with tires softened from disuse, and each one holding a story of hardship even more hardened than tires. These aren't people sleeping on subway grates or waiting in endless lines at overcrowded shelters. They're the uncounted, the unsheltered, and the mostly ignored by the very systems that are supposed to offer a helping hand. Unsheltered. This means sleeping outdoors, whether it's on a cold, unforgiving sidewalk, in a neglected park, or inside the cramped confines of a vehicle. Vehicle dwellers. These are the people who live primarily, often exclusively, in a car, van, or RV. It's their only home. Safe parking. This refers to designated, legal parking lots where people can safely stay overnight, with essential amenities such as bathrooms, on-site security, and access to vital services. New York has none of these. 10-year rule. A cruel and arbitrary policy where many RV parks won't accept RVs that are more than 10 years old, regardless of how well-maintained and roadworthy they are. Sweeps. These are coordinated, often heavy-handed efforts by the city to clear out areas where people are living in their vehicles, frequently followed by the heartless towing and disposal of their few remaining personal belongings. 72-hour rule. A restrictive law stating that you can't park a vehicle in the same spot for more than 3 days. This becomes an exhausting and demoralizing ordeal for anyone living in their car, forcing them into a constant state of forced migration. The rent death spiral. In New York City, the average rent was a staggering $3,500 a month in 2023. To comfortably afford that without allocating an unreasonable portion of your income to rent, you would need to earn approximately $140,000 a year. However, the actual average household income in the city is only around $76,667. Even a tiny studio apartment can easily cost upwards of $42,000 a year. A used RV, on the other hand, might cost a one-time payment of $15,000, offering a temporary escape from landlords and leases, but it comes with its own overwhelming set of problems. Since 1968, rents in New York have skyrocketed by an astonishing 1,700%. Meanwhile, wages have only increased by about 800% during that same period. Every year, the gap between income and housing costs widens, and more people tragically fall through the cracks in the system. Maria did everything by the book. She dedicated 12 years of her life to working as a certified nursing assistant, providing compassionate care to those in need. She always paid her rent diligently and on time. Then, a ruthless private equity company bought her building and callously raised her rent from $2,000 to a crippling $3,200. Her work hours were drastically cut back. She's been languishing on the wait list for affordable housing for 7 long years. Desperate for a solution, she bought a used 2012 Honda Pilot for $8,000 and moved to the neglected outskirts of Queens. 18 months later, she's still working tirelessly, but she's precariously close to losing everything with just one more parking ticket. Within a 50-mile radius of Manhattan, RV parks often charge exorbitant rates, ranging from $80 to $120 a night. That adds up to a staggering $2,400 to $3,600 a month, more than what many apartments cost. The vast majority of RV parks cater to tourists and vacationers, not to the growing population of people who are living in RVs out of sheer desperation because they have nowhere else to go. Those few places that do offer longer-term spots often enforce the discriminatory 10-year rule. Demand proof of insurance and vehicle registration that match a permanent address, which they obviously don't have, and limit stays to a mere 30 days before forcing a mandatory 2-week break, leaving them nowhere to go. If you're living in an RV that's more than 10 years old, you're simply out of luck, no matter how well you've maintained it. James, a 58-year-old veteran who bravely served his country, owns a 2009 Winnebago outright. He doesn't owe anyone a dime on it. Yet, every single RV park within driving distance has heartlessly turned him away solely because of the age of his RV. Private campgrounds demand $70 a night and impose strict cutoff dates. Even big box stores kick him out after only a few nights of refuge. Now, he's forced to constantly move between 4 different streets in Staten Island, living in perpetual fear of getting a ticket for violating the dreaded 72-hour rule. He's already received 11 tickets this year, totaling a devastating $1,265, which is more than twice his meager monthly food budget. He's not trying to intentionally break the rules. There's simply nowhere legal for him to park his only home. The 72-hour rule was originally created with the intention of preventing people from storing their unused vehicles on public streets for extended periods. However, for individuals and families living in their vehicles, it transforms into a relentless, never-ending cycle of forced displacement, pushing them from one location to another without any semblance of a real destination or stability. Sandra lives in a 2010 Toyota Sienna with her 2 young children, ages 7 and 9. She works part-time at a daycare center for a meager $16 an hour, barely enough to make ends meet. Her kids diligently do their homework using the free Wi-Fi at local coffee shops. Then, she faces the daunting task of trying to find a safe and legal place to park and sleep for the night. Every 3 nights, without fail, she has to wake her sleeping children up at 10 o'clock and drive them to a new parking lot in order to avoid getting a crippling parking ticket. It's an exhausting and demoralizing routine. It consumes a significant amount of her already limited gas budget. When her van was eventually towed, she couldn't afford the exorbitant $400 impound fee. After 30 days in the impound lot, the van was callously auctioned off, with all of their precious belongings still trapped inside. Now, they're forced to live in a crowded family shelter, separated from the only home they had left in the world. Complaints from residents and business owners inevitably lead to the issuance of tickets. Those tickets, in turn, lead to the dreaded towing of the vehicle. Towing leads to job loss as people struggle to get to work, and often results in expensive and unnecessary emergency room visits due to the stress and trauma. The person may disappear from your immediate neighborhood, but the underlying problem doesn't magically vanish. They're simply forced to drive to another part of the city, often farther away from their job, their healthcare providers, and their vital community support network. Manhattan pushes people to Queens. Queens pushes them to the Bronx. The Bronx pushes them to Staten Island. And Staten Island ultimately pushes them across state lines into New Jersey. The costs associated with this displacement continue to escalate. The outcomes for the individuals and families involved become increasingly dire. Yet, the overall numbers of people experiencing vehicle homelessness remain stubbornly unchanged. Towing a single RV can cost the city hundreds of dollars just to process the paperwork, and the cost of storing the vehicle often far exceeds its actual market value. Meanwhile, the person who lived in that RV loses their only shelter, their essential tools for work, their important personal documents, their life-saving medication, and ultimately their livelihood. You simply cannot solve a complex housing crisis by handing out parking tickets and towing vehicles. There's currently no legal or sanctioned way for people living in vehicles to access essential utilities like electricity, water, or waste disposal services. They are forced to shower at 24-hour gyms until their debit cards are inevitably declined due to lack of funds. They desperately charge their phones at public libraries and hope that no one asks intrusive questions about their living situation. Gray water, contaminated with soap and other pollutants, ends up being dumped into storm drains because there's no legal or environmentally responsible place to dispose of it. During the harsh winter months, they burn through $12 to $18 worth of fuel each night just to keep a small generator running, desperately trading a little bit of warmth for the very real risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. Robert, a 45-year-old freelance electrician who suffers from type 2 diabetes, relies on a small cooler that plugs into his car to keep his life-saving insulin from spoiling. Frequent power failures have already caused hundreds of dollars worth of his medication to go bad, putting his health at serious risk. He struggles to maintain a consistent meal schedule or get regular, restful sleep. He's been hospitalized twice in the last few months due to complications from his diabetes. His doctor has explicitly stated that he needs stable housing in order to stabilize his deteriorating health. However, the waiting list for a shelter bed is 4 months long, and he's not allowed to bring his work van with him, which is essential for his livelihood. The health problems associated with vehicle homelessness continue to worsen. Chronic sleep deprivation from constantly having to move the vehicle, debilitating respiratory problems from exposure to fumes and poor ventilation, dangerous infections resulting from limited hygiene options, and severe mental health problems caused by social isolation, constant stress, and the overwhelming feeling of hopelessness. When the frigid winter weather arrives, people die silently, alone, in their cars with empty gas tanks and closed windows, completely forgotten by society. Every single night is a precarious risk assessment. Well-lit streets offer a small measure of safety from crime, but they also attract the unwanted attention of parking enforcement officers, increasing the risk of getting a ticket. Dark, secluded streets, on the other hand, may offer some respite from parking tickets, but they also become magnets for criminal activity. Industrial areas tend to generate fewer complaints from residents, but they lack essential amenities such as restrooms and access to Wi-Fi. Residential areas may offer convenient access to restrooms and Wi-Fi hotspots, but they also lead to numerous calls to 311 from concerned or complaining neighbors. There is no truly safe option, only varying degrees of risk and hardship. Margaret, a 73-year-old retired public school teacher who dedicated 32 years of her life to educating children, now finds herself homeless. Her meager pension, a paltry $1,800 a month, simply isn't enough to cover the exorbitant cost of rent in the city. She now sleeps in a cramped 2007 Ford Econoline van that she purchased for $2,700. Her arthritis is steadily worsening due to the confined space and lack of proper support. Without a permanent address, her crucial medical mail keeps getting lost, disrupting her health care. She's already suffered through 3 agonizing urinary tract infections this year. The city shelter has a bed available for her, but only if she's willing to give up her van, which represents the last vestige of control she has over her life and contains everything she owns in the world. David, a 31-year-old restaurant manager, earns a respectable $48,000 a year. However, he's burdened with student loan payments that consume $650 of his income each month. The cheapest studio apartment he could find in the city cost an outrageous $2,400 a month. After paying taxes and student loans, he was left with a mere $400 to cover food, transportation, phone bills, and all other essential expenses. He managed to survive for 3 months before his savings completely ran out. Now, he sleeps in his 2014 Nissan Sentra and showers at the gym, desperately trying to conceal his homelessness from his employer. He frequently finds himself falling asleep during important meetings due to exhaustion. Carmen drove 8 long hours to New Haven, Connecticut, because they offer a comprehensive safe parking program. Within 72 hours of arriving, she had secured a legal parking spot, access to clean bathrooms, on-site security, and a dedicated caseworker to help her navigate the system. Within 30 days, she had obtained a valid photo ID, which is essential for accessing services and employment. Within 90 days, she had found a stable job and started accumulating savings. Last month, she finally moved into permanent housing. The safe parking program cost just $30 a night, compared to the exorbitant $200 a night that a traditional homeless shelter would cost the city. It worked because her car was viewed as a temporary shelter to help her stabilize her life, not as a nuisance to be eliminated. Safe parking programs, Seattle, Santa Barbara, San Diego. These programs provide legal overnight parking lots equipped with essential amenities such as bathrooms, on-site security, mail service, and comprehensive case management services. They offer rapid intake within 72 hours of arrival, co-locating various support services in one convenient location. Housing navigation is an integral part of the program. The costs average $25 to $35 per person per night, and many programs report impressive success rates, with 65 to 90% of participants transitioning into stable housing within 6 to 12 months. Vehicle triage centers. Albuquerque. These centers offer specialized intake services designed specifically for individuals and families living in RVs and cars, providing crucial assistance such as vehicle repairs, waste disposal, propane refills, DMV assistance, mail service, and housing placement support. The annual cost is roughly $300 per person served, with the majority of participants achieving stability in a matter of weeks, not years. Master lease lots. Los Angeles in this innovative model. The city leases private parking lots and then sublet spaces to vehicle dwellers for a nominal fee of $1 to $5 a night. Sanitation hookups and on-site support services are also provided. The performance of these lots is measured using infrastructure-like metrics: placement within 72 hours, ID attainment within 30 days, reasonable caseworker caseloads, lease-up within 1 month of unit matching, and housing retention rates above 85% at 2 years. Get rid of the blanket 10-year rule that arbitrarily discriminates against older vehicles. Replace it with comprehensive safety inspections to ensure roadworthiness. Vehicle condition is what truly matters. Age is simply a convenient way to punish the poor and vulnerable. Zone specific areas for long-term stays where people are already living in their vehicles, providing them with a safe and legal place to reside. Designate industrial areas for this purpose, equipping them with essential amenities such as bathrooms, potable water sources, reliable power, and legal waste dump stations. Effectively manage what already exists by acknowledging and addressing the current reality. Convert underused city-owned lots into safe parking areas. New York City has thousands of empty overnight parking spaces that could be utilized to address this urgent crisis. Transform just 20 of them into pilot sites, providing security and essential services. Accurately count the number of vehicle households to gain a better understanding of the scope of the problem. Update existing definitions so that federal and state funding can be used to implement real, effective solutions for people living in cars and RVs. More than 158,000 New Yorkers are homeless tonight, struggling to survive in the shadows. Thousands of them are sleeping in cars and RVs, uncounted, unserved, and largely ignored by society. They are not choosing a lifestyle. They are simply trying to survive an impossible situation created by systemic failures. Rents are rising at an unsustainable rate, far outpacing wage growth. RV parks are priced for tourists, not for those desperately seeking shelter. Parking rules effectively make it illegal to rest and recover. Preventable health emergencies are a direct result of our collective neglect. But there's a viable way back to stability and dignity. Safe parking programs work. Vehicle triage centers work. Master lease lots work. These solutions are far more cost-effective than the endless cycle of sweeps and emergency room visits. They offer a faster and more humane alternative to traditional homeless shelters. Most importantly, they actually help people move into permanent, stable housing. New York City could launch a pilot program within 90 days by simply converting 5 underutilized city lots, adding essential amenities such as bathrooms, lighting, and security, contracting with local nonprofit organizations to provide comprehensive case management services, and publicly tracking the results to ensure accountability. The money is available. The asphalt is already there. What's currently missing is the political permission to act and the necessary public pressure to demand change. Call your city council member and advocate for safe parking pilot programs, publicly reported timelines, and measurable retention targets. Urge RV parks to replace discriminatory age limits with fair and objective safety checks. If someone tries to dismiss the issue by saying, "Vehicle homelessness is a choice," share Carmen's inspiring story of resilience. Show them Maria's reliance on a flimsy cooler to keep her medication from spoiling. Show them James's overwhelming stack of parking tickets, a testament to the injustice of the system. Then ask them, what would you do if your rent suddenly increased by $1,000 and your paycheck didn't? We build a city for cars. We can, at the very least, make room for the people who are now forced to live inside them, safely, legally, and with a clear pathway to getting back home. The journey back to stability begins when we stop pretending that this isn't happening and start taking meaningful action to address this urgent crisis.